Dr. Kara Voss never meant to become a monster. She was a scientist, a researcher dedicated to understanding human biology and finding ways to help her own people. The last thing she intended was to become the very thing she studied and lose herself in the process. It started on a Tuesday, which Kara had always found to be the most unremarkable day of the week. She was working late in the xenobiology lab aboard the research station Meridian, analyzing samples of an experimental human enhancement serum called Apex 7. The humans had developed it to help their soldiers survive in extreme environments, boosting strength, speed, reflexes, and healing capabilities to superhuman levels. Kara's people, the Zentari, were a graceful species with orange skin that shimmered like burnished copper in the light, complemented by naturally blonde hair that fell in silken waves. They were known throughout the galaxy for their intelligence and peaceful nature, but they were physically fragile compared to many other species. A single broken bone could take months to heal. Their immune systems struggled with foreign pathogens. They were scholars and artists, not warriors. That's why Kara had volunteered to study the human serum. If she could adapt it for Zentari physiology, her people could finally travel beyond their protected worlds without fear. They could explore, discover, contribute to the galactic community in ways they never had before. She was so close to a breakthrough. The latest batch of Apex 7 had been modified with Zentari genetic markers, and the simulations looked promising. She just needed to run one more test, one more analysis, and then the explosion came without warning. The storage container holding the volatile serum compounds shattered, and Kara was thrown backward against the wall. She felt the impact, felt the sharp pain as glass shredded her lab coat and the skin beneath. Felt the burning sensation as the experimental serum soaked into her wounds, into her bloodstream, flooding her system with chemicals designed for human biology, not Zentari. The emergency alarms screamed. Kara tried to stand, tried to call for help, but her body was already changing. She could feel it, a terrible wrongness spreading through her veins like liquid fire. Her heart's Zentari had too, began racing so fast they felt like they would explode. Her muscles spasmed and convulsed. Her vision went white, then red, then fractured into 1,000 different spectrums she'd never seen before. "Help," she gasped, but the word came out as a roar that shattered the remaining glass in the lab. The security team found her 20 minutes later, huddled in the corner of the destroyed lab. Her orange skin was glowing with an inner light, pulsing with each heartbeat. Her blonde hair had grown several inches and seemed to move of its own accord, crackling with bioelectric energy. When she looked up at them, her normally gentle amber eyes were blazing gold, and the concrete floor beneath her hands had cracked under the pressure of her grip. "Stay back," she whispered, her voice distorted. "Please, I can't control." But they didn't listen. One of the guards, a well-meaning human named Rodriguez, stepped forward with his hands raised. "Dr. Voss, it's okay. We're here to help. Just come with us to the medical bay." Kara didn't mean to hurt him. She just flinched when he reached for her, a reflexive movement to pull away. But her arm moved faster than thought, faster than anything should move, and her hand caught his chest. Rodriguez flew across the room and crashed into the far wall, leaving a dent in the reinforced metal. "Oh, God," Kara sobbed, staring at her hands. "Oh, God, what have I done? What's happening to me?" They sedated her. It took enough tranquilizer to drop an elephant and locked her in a medical containment cell while they figured out what to do. Rodriguez survived with 3 broken ribs and a concussion. Kara couldn't stop replaying the moment in her mind, the sickening sound of impact, the terror in his eyes. Dr. James Reeves, the station's chief medical officer, ran every test he could think of. The results were staggering. The Apex 7 serum, designed for human biology, had reacted unpredictably with Kara's Zentari physiology. Instead of simply enhancing her existing capabilities, it had created something entirely new, something dangerous. Her strength had increased by a factor of 50. She could bench press a small shuttle. Her reflexes were so fast that she could see individual bullets in flight. Her healing factor was regenerating damage almost as fast as it occurred. But more concerning was the psychological effect. The serum was flooding her system with adrenaline and aggression-inducing hormones, emotions that Zentari weren't equipped to handle. Her people had evolved to be peaceful, cooperative, conflict-averse. Now she could feel rage bubbling just beneath the surface, a constant pressure building behind her eyes. "We need to create an anti-serum," Dr. Reeves told the station commander. "If we can reverse the process, and if you can't," Commander Yashida asked. "We can't keep her locked up forever. She's already broken through 3 sets of restraints. The containment field is holding for now, but if she loses control again..." Kara heard them talking through the walls. Her enhanced hearing picked up every word, every whispered concern, every suggestion that she be transferred to a military research facility, or worse, eliminated as a threat. She curled into a ball on the floor of her cell, her glowing orange skin casting strange shadows, and tried to remember who she was. Dr. Kara Voss, xenobiologist, born on Zenter Prime. Favorite food, sweet crystalline fruit from the northern valleys. Favorite music, the symphonic harmonies of the old composers. She liked to read ancient poetry, to watch nebulas form through telescopes, to teach younglings about the wonders of genetic science. But those memories felt distant, muffled beneath the roaring in her head that demanded she break out, that insisted these walls were a cage, that the containment field was an insult, that she should show them what she was capable of. "No," she said aloud, pressing her palms against her temples. "No, that's not me. That's the serum. I'm not violent. I'm not a monster." But her hands were trembling with the effort of staying still, and the concrete beneath her feet was cracking. On the 3rd day of her containment, a visitor arrived who changed everything. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen was a human soldier, one of the original test subjects for the Apex 7 program. She'd volunteered for the enhancement 5 years ago and had learned to live with the changes it brought. When she heard about what happened to Kara, she insisted on helping. "Let me talk to her," Sarah told Dr. Reeves. "I know what she's going through. I've been there." They let her into the observation room, though she had to stay outside the containment field. Kara was pacing back and forth like a caged animal, her movements too fast, too sharp, lacking the natural grace that Zentari normally possessed. "Dr. Voss," Sarah said quietly, "my name is Sarah Chen. I've taken the same serum you did. I wanted to talk to you about what you're experiencing." Kara stopped pacing, her blazing golden eyes fixing on Sarah. "You're human. It was designed for you. This is different. I can feel myself changing, losing who I am. The anger, the violence, it's not me, but it's becoming me." "I know," Sarah said. When I first got the enhancement, I broke my boyfriend's jaw during an argument. I put my fist through a wall because someone cut me off in traffic. The serum amplifies everything, strength, speed, but also emotions. For humans, we already have aggression built into our psychology. For you, it must be overwhelming. It's like drowning, Kara whispered. I keep trying to surface to find myself, but the anger keeps pulling me down. I'm afraid I'm going to hurt someone else. I'm afraid I'm going to lose myself completely. Sarah moved closer to the containment field. You won't, because I'm going to teach you how to control it, not suppress it. That doesn't work. But channel it, direct it, integrate it into who you are. It's possible, Kara. I promise you it's possible. Over the next 3 weeks, Sarah worked with Kara every day. They started with meditation techniques, teaching Kara how to recognize the surge of adrenaline before it overwhelmed her. Then they moved to physical training, giving her controlled outlets for the energy building inside her. Sarah brought in reinforced equipment, and they sparred, carefully at first, then with increasing intensity as Kara learned to pull her punches, to calibrate her strength. The serum doesn't make you a monster, Sarah explained during one session. It amplifies who you already are. Yes, it adds aggression, but it also amplifies your compassion, your intelligence, your dedication. You're not losing yourself, Kara. You're becoming more of yourself. You just have to decide which parts to nurture. Kara wanted to believe her. Some days she did. Other days she felt the rage building and wondered if she'd ever be safe to release. She spent hours in her cell, focusing on memories of home, on the gentle warmth of Zentari sun on her skin, on the sound of her mother's voice singing lullabies. She held onto those things like anchors, reminders of who she was beneath the serum's influence. The breakthrough came on day 23. Dr. Reeves had been working tirelessly on an anti-serum, but every version failed. The Apex 7 had integrated too deeply into Kara's cellular structure. Removing it would kill her. When he delivered this news, Kara felt something inside her snap. The containment field shattered like glass. Kara stood in the center of the observation room, her entire body radiating power, her blonde hair whipping around her face in an invisible wind. Dr. Reeves backed away, his face pale. The guards raised their weapons. Sarah stepped between them, and Kara, her hands raised but her stance calm. Kara, she said quietly, I know you're afraid. I know this isn't what you wanted. But right now you have a choice. You can let the rage win, or you can choose to be who you've always been, a scientist, a healer, a woman who dedicated her life to helping others. I can't be that person anymore, Kara said, her voice breaking. Look at me, I'm dangerous, You're stronger than you've ever been, and that terrifies you, Sarah interrupted. But strength isn't the problem, it's what you do with it. You could use this power to hurt people, or you could use it to protect them. You could hide from what you've become, or you could embrace it and find a new way to help your people. Kara looked down at her hands, still glowing with that eerie orange light. She thought about her research, about why she'd started this project in the first place. She wanted to help the Zentari explore the galaxy. She wanted to give her people the strength to survive in hostile environments. Well, now she had that strength, just not in the way she'd planned. Slowly, carefully, Kara pulled the power back inside herself. The glow faded, her hair settled. When she looked up at Sarah, her eyes were still gold, but they were her own again. Teach me, she said. Teach me how to control this, how to live with it. I will, Sarah promised, but you have to promise me something in return. You don't get to give up. You don't get to decide you're a monster and check out. Deal? Kara managed a weak smile. Deal. The next 6 months were the hardest of Kara's life. She trained with Sarah every day, learning to control her enhanced abilities. She worked with Dr. Reeves to document the changes in her physiology, hoping that her experience might help other Zentari who chose to take the enhancement, because she'd realized that's what this was. Not an accident, not a curse, a choice. She learned to channel her aggression into protective instincts. When a fire broke out in the station's engineering section, she was the one who ran into the flames to carry out 3 trapped workers. When pirates attacked a nearby civilian transport, she was the one who boarded their ship and disabled their weapons, moving so fast they never saw her coming. She was still Kara Voss, still a scientist, still gentle with the younglings who came to visit the station, still fascinated by the beauty of distant stars. But now she was also something more, a protector. A guardian, someone who could stand between the vulnerable and danger. The Zentari Council contacted her after news of her transformation spread. They were afraid at first, concerned that she'd become something alien, something dangerous. But when they saw her, when they spoke with her, they realized she was still their Kara, just stronger. "We have a proposal," the eldest counselor said during their video conference. "Your experience has shown us that enhancement is possible for our people. We would like to establish a volunteer program, a peacekeeping force of Zentari who choose to undergo the Apex 7 modification. We want you to lead it." Kara felt tears streaming down her glowing orange cheeks. "You trust me with this? Who better? You know the dangers. You've learned to master them. And you've proven that our people can be strong without losing our compassion, our dedication to peace. We need that now more than ever." Sarah, standing beside Kara during the call, squeezed her shoulder. "I told you," she whispered. "Not a monster, a hero." 2 years later, Kara stood in the training facility she'd built, watching the first class of Zentari volunteers complete their enhancement program. They were nervous, excited, afraid, just like she had been. But they were also determined. They wanted to protect their people, to explore the galaxy, to prove that strength and compassion weren't mutually exclusive. "Remember," Kara told them, her voice carrying easily across the room thanks to her enhanced lungs. "The serum will amplify everything you are, your fears, your anger, but also your courage, your kindness, your dedication to what's right. You get to choose which parts of yourself to nurture. Choose wisely." Later, as the sun set over the training facility, Sarah found Kara standing on the observation deck looking out at the stars. "Thinking about that Tuesday?" Sarah asked. Kara smiled, her orange skin glowing softly in the twilight. "Every day, the day I became a monster, except I didn't, did I?" "No," Sarah said. "You became something better. You became yourself, just more so." "I lost control," Kara said quietly. "That day in the lab and many days after, I was so afraid of what I'd become. But you found it again, control, purpose, yourself, that's what matters." Kara looked down at her hands, no longer trembling with suppressed power. "I used to think the accident ruined my life. Now I think it showed me what I was capable of. I was so focused on being what I thought I should be, gentle, scholarly, fragile, that I never considered I could be strong and still be me. And now I know that losing control doesn't mean losing yourself. It means finding a new way to be who you've always been. I'm still Dr. Kara Voss, xenobiologist, teacher, scientist. I'm just also Kara Voss, protector, warrior, guardian. Both things are true. Both things are me." Sarah smiled. "Took you long enough to figure that out?" Kara laughed, the sound echoing across the observation deck like music. Better late than never. As they stood together watching the stars, Kara thought about that Tuesday 2 years ago. The explosion, the pain, the terror of transformation. She wouldn't wish that experience on anyone. But she also wouldn't trade who she'd become. The alien woman who accidentally took a human super-serum and lost control. That was her story, but it wasn't the end of her story. It was just the beginning of something new, something powerful, something that proved that accidents could become purposes, that losing control could teach you how to find it, and that sometimes becoming a monster was just the first step toward becoming a hero. She was Kara Voss, and she was exactly who she was meant to be.